Good afternoon and welcome to Titan Talk. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. Today I have myself, Captain Coop, and I have the wonderful, the ever-changing, the ever-weird,
the exhausted
Captain Roberts. Thanks for joining me again.
It's weird.
I did.
Accurate.
Very. I mean, coming from me, come on, that's a compliment.
That's fair. Just ask my wife. I am the most strange human being you will ever encounter.
That's very fair comment there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our local mini roses.
Yeah, at this point, I can't argue with it.
No, we went. Just so everybody knows, we actually went through the math and did the math on the similarities. It's scary. It's kind of funny.
It's
actually
unfortunate what it is.
I mean, for him, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't. So today we wanted to go over. Appreciate everybody joining. Jarvis, to see you. Billy, thanks for joining. Beatty, good to see you in there. Easy, welcome. We wanted to go over some of the most common questions that we come across. I've got a list of 10. I doubt we're going to make it through all of them. But we wanted to go over the most common questions that we come across as not just supervisors, but as security officers. And there's a ton of them. So the ones we miss, or if you guys have any that you think of, throw them in chat. You know, we'll answer them live if we get a chance. And if not, if you're watching this after the fact, throw them in the comments and we'll answer them on YouTube. So we appreciate it, guys. Thanks for joining us, and then we're going to dive into these and kind of go from there.
Do you actually look at the comments after it's been posted, or do you just kind of leave it?
No, I look at them.
Oh wow!
I give it a couple of days so that way everybody has a chance to go after it, and then I go look at them.
Yeah, fair enough. Touche.
All right, so the very first one we've got here is it's the one that's the most common for me is what are my responsibilities as a security officer? And it's probably, I think that's the number one most common question I run across as a supervisor and even as an officer when I was working is what are my responsibilities? What do I do?
So I have a unique perspective on this because I get that question asked almost daily because when I send people to places, they're new contracts. Beatty asked me today, hey, what am I doing tomorrow? It's like, well, you're just observe and report, look pretty. A lot of what we do is a visual deterrent. Mm-hmm. Be a visual deterrent. Look intimidating.
And it's not even looking intimidating when it comes down to that. It's do you look together? I get a lot of the time, someone will say, well, because look at me. I'm not the most intimidating person out there. I'm rather short for stature for what we do for a living. But when I'm on property, when I'm doing what I need to do as a security officer in that role, I maintain that composure. And it's not because I'm not Voss. I'm not I'm not this huge muscular guy you see standing there like, I don't think I can take him. It's about presence. It's about how do you look? Is your uniform and look tattered, look ripped? Does it look bad?
Do you look like you might know a thing or two?
When you're standing there for your uniform, and the big part of it is it's how you present yourself when it comes to that as a deterrent. Do you look together? Does your uniform look clean? Most of the time when people are going to run through and they want to do something, they're going to see the security officer standing there, and if they look well put together
and vigilant,
they're going to be like, I'm going to try somewhere else because they see someone who's paying attention, and that's where it comes in. I tell people it's not just about your appearance, but it's about as people walk through the door, you're greeting them, as many of them as you can.
Yeah,
because as they come through the door,
are you staring at a phone?
Right? How are you doing today and stuff like that? It's because they're paying attention, they see me. They're going to recognize me. I'm going to go to the next place because that person's actually paying attention. They're going to look for the person playing on their phone, uniforms disheveled. They don't look like they...
Someone that doesn't care.
Yeah. When you look at that person, you're like, they don't care. It's just a job to them. They're not going to say anything to me. Versus you approach somebody who's got a well put together uniform. They're greeting everybody that's coming in. They're not paying attention to their phone. They're like, no, I'm good. I'm just going to go somewhere else. We've had that happen, and that's the biggest thing. Now, your responsibilities besides that, the biggest thing there is a visual deterrent, is to make people feel safe. You're there to give that off and to make when someone walks in the door, no matter where you're at, grocery store, apartment complex, it doesn't matter, stadium, doesn't matter. When someone walks in, they see you standing there, they should be like, I feel good. I feel safe here. My first post, we were there for 3 months, and a month in, one of the parents pulled me aside and she goes, I've never felt safer. I feel safe letting my kids play out in outside now. And I was blown away. I was like, I've been here a month. Yep. How do you feel that safe? Like I haven't done anything. I'm just here. And she goes, exactly. You're here.
Last summer, I was at an HOA, and I did nothing special besides look presentable and did exactly what was asked of me. And I had parents approaching me the entire summer. It's like, hey, this is night and day of what it was like last year. It's like, oh, what was it like last year? It's like we had teenagers coming in massive groups and parties, and they'd be throwing chairs into the pool. And I'm just like, that is absolutely wild. Because while I was there, it was teens would come in, they'd start roughhousing, they'd start doing stuff, and I'd kick them out immediately. I was like, no, get out of here. This is for families. What are you doing? And they'd leave, and the parents were like, oh my God.
It's so nice.
I had people on the HOA board come up to me and was like, hey, this is the first year that I've actually brought my kids to the pool.
Yeah. It's that, and a big part of it comes to that presence, that visual deterrent. They see you there, they start acting up, and when you talk to them, you're like, hey, knock it off. You don't knock it off, get out. That right there alone changes the world. It adds a huge thing to it. And so when you're looking at those things, that's, I'd say 95% of our job.
Oh, yeah.
Is that visual presence, that customer service aspect to it. It plays a massive role in what we do.
Yep. And then I'd say 4% is probably de-escalation, and then that 1% is the actual use of force.
Yeah. So the big thing, I'd say 4% is that, and then the 1% is use of force. The use of force is such a rare occasion. It happens,
depending on the location.
Yeah, but it's more on the rarer side than anything else.
99% of the time, you can de-escalate anything and calm anything down with just verbal judo.
Yeah, if you just talk to somebody, and that's a big thing too. Is when you're talking to somebody, talk to them like a person. I tell people that all the time. Talk to someone how you would expect someone to talk to you. You don't want to walk up to them and start yelling at them and. Talk to them like a person. Hey, my name's Josh, and I work for Titan Security. I'm employed by this company. This is the reason I'm here. This is the reason I'm talking to you. Is there a reason you're acting like this? Can we not? I would appreciate it if you not. And talk to them like a reasonable person, because that's how you're going to get the best response. Now, is that going to be every time? No. But if you do that 99% of your time, you're going to de-escalate the situation, and you're going to fix 99% of the problems that are out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I have never had a use of force out in the field. I was out in the field for about 1.75 years, and I've been almost everywhere. I have never had a use of force. I've had plenty of interactions with homeless or EDPs where it easily could have gotten out of hand, but every single time just talking, being reasonable, and sometimes playing into the delusion will get you out of almost every situation.
Yeah, absolutely. I had I don't remember how long ago it was, but there was an incident on one of our CIDs, and I went down, I was talking to the guy, and he was just angry because he couldn't get any smokes because he didn't have any money. At the time, I smoked, and so I was like, dude, I'll give you 3 cigarettes if you leave. And he goes, okay. I gave him 3 cigarettes, I handed him, I lit one for him, and he walked away. It took me 5 minutes of conversation with the guy. He started out irate, 5 minutes of de-escalation, he was calm-ish. He told me what the problem was. I was like, dude, I'll give you some cigarettes. You just leave. Stop causing me an issue. Stop causing you an issue. Okay. Done.
Yeah.
There you go.
I had a...
wasn't the best moment. I mean, if you can get away without doing that, then that's fine. But it calmed the situation down for me. So, not to interrupt.
One of my best examples of playing into delusions to get the guy to do what you want. I was responding to a dispatch call to one of our posts while I was a lieutenant, and I showed up, and the officer came out and was like, hey, nobody's allowed to be on this wall, and this guy's been sitting up there eating for the past 45 minutes. I've asked him to leave, and he's refusing. I was like, okay, well, just hang out behind me, and I'll go talk to the guy. Walk down, and he starts flying off the handle about how this is his wall, and he talked to Trump, and he's like, whoa, no, I was sent here by Trump himself, and you can't be on his wall. And he was like, oh no, and he got off and bolted. I was like, I looked at her, and I was like, sometimes playing into the delusion works.
I mean, if it works, it works. I don't have another answer for that one.
It was great.
I mean, yeah, that's an experience in its own. Never had that one happen. So I mean, but that's the overview of the responsibilities. Is 99% of it's just going to be that customer service aspect, that visual deterrent. Beatty has a good one here. He'd say it's 0.5%, and use of forces are more rare than everybody would think. It's not a huge thing of what we deal with.
Absolutely.
The next one we have is handling how do I handle an unauthorized person, someone who's trespassing or someone who's in an area they're not supposed to be in? Those are fairly simple as well. And again, those go back down to de-escalation, talking to the individual, trying to get a little bit of background information, figuring out what's going on, and then letting them know, hey, this is not an area you're supposed to be in. We get more of that at events that we do, where there's an area where it's like, hey, only these 3 people or 4 people can be back here. You know, we don't want anybody else. And you find somebody else. You're like, hey, what are you doing back here? Oh, well, I was sent back here. Who sent you? You know, how did you? And oh, well, okay, well, this is the person that told me that no one's supposed to be back here. If you want to be back here or you need something from back here, go talk to them. But I need you to leave.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, sure. And generally, that's it.
You'll get a lot of people that claim to be employees.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I don't want to interrupt your day, but do you mind showing me your employee badge? And it's like, oh, I don't have it with me. It's like, Unfortunately, I can't let you back in this area. If you go through the front, they've got temporary badges that you can grab, and then you'll have access to this area, and then they'll wander off and they'll never return because they're not supposed to be there.
Yeah. When it comes to trespassers or something, it's the same thing. Just feed into the delusion if you have to a little bit, just to get them to get off. Get off property. That's what we do. You know, it's that de-escalation, that talking to them and making sure that you can do it calmly, keeping them on your level, and don't escalate if they don't, and don't escalate if you don't have to. There's no reason to bring your voice up if you're not trying to get. The only time my voice ever gets raised when I'm out in the field is if I'm trying to grab somebody's attention. Yep. They're not talking to me, they're yelling and they're not listening.
Or if you've got 2 people yelling at each other, and you got to break it up.
Break it up.
Never step between them, because now you've got somebody at your back. Mm-hmm. And if you can break them up, great, but never step between them.
Yeah. That's like I said, that's the only time my voice ever gets raised, is if I'm trying to grab somebody's attention. Outside of that, I'm talking at about this level. Maybe a little louder just so I can get my point across. But I mean, I'm not screaming or yelling. The only time my voice gets loud is I'm trying to grab somebody's attention to get them to listen to what I got to say.
Yep.
Because I don't want to make it worse. I'm not here to excite them or bring it to their level. I want to bring them down to mine. I want to bring them calm to being calm and clear and listening, so we can talk like reasonable people.
Yep. As long as you sound reasonable, they will slowly make it way back down there.
Sometimes it takes a little bit of time.
PCP or something.
Yeah.
And then
that's a different story.
That's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah. But 99% of the time, you'll get them down to that level. It might take a few minutes, but if you talk to them and you continue to be that way, you're going to continue to get it. So just keep on that, and then just keep talking to them. Every now and then you're going to run into the people, the trespassers that don't want to leave. They think they're allowed to be there, or whatever the case may be. You know, and generally for something like that, it's like, hey man, look, I'm just here to do a job. The client's asked me to ask you to leave. It's not my choice. It's not your choice. It's the client. They have the right for you not to be here. They have the right to ask you to leave. That's why I'm here. I understand you're frustrated with the situation. I understand something has gone wrong, or you need something that they don't want to provide you right now. Go home, give it a couple of days, come back calm, and try it again. You know, if you come back as a reasonable person, they'll probably help you. But in the condition you're in right now, where you're angry, you're excited, you're yelling, nobody wants to help. They want you to leave. And I guarantee you, if you come back with a calm demeanor in a couple of days, I bet you they'll help you. And 9 times out of 10, that's exactly what happens.
Never tell someone to calm down.
That's not true. I've used it. It's rare. It depends on the circumstances.
More often than not, you're just going to piss somebody off. I am calm.
But it depends on the circumstances. I mean, if they're irate, I'm not going to use the word calm down.
Hey, calm down, buddy.
Yeah. But I mean, if they're irate, I'm not going to use that. But I mean, if what I will say is, what I've said in the past is in a calm demeanor. If you come back in a couple of days in a calm demeanor and you talk to them like a person, and you talk to them like you would expect someone to talk to you, I'll bet you they'll help. You know, that's how I've always done it. I don't just walk up to somebody who's irate, screaming, "Hey, calm down there, dude. Just settle down." No, that's not how you do that.
That's how you get punched.
Yeah,
that's how you get punched.
That's how a use of force happens.
Yeah.
No, we don't do that. It's one of those. Hey, I understand. You know, talk to them. Hey, I understand there's something wrong. You're trying to get something they're not wanting to give you. If we could talk, let's talk outside. Let's figure out what's going on. Maybe I can help you. Hey, unfortunately, due to the condition you're in right now, you're excited, you're yelling. The client doesn't want you here right now. Give it a couple of days. Come back with a better demeanor. Talk to them like a person, like you're talking to me right now, and I bet you they'll help.
That's
your uncle.
Getting people to walk outside to talk to you
can be difficult.
It's difficult, but if you succeed, that it is a much better environment. You're taking them out of the environment that's pissing them off. If you take them outside, you're keeping other people that are inside safe. You're taking them outside, get some fresh air, talk it out. More often than not, that's going to be the key factor in getting somebody to relax and to leave property.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so the next one is how do I ensure safety and security? And that one's going to depend site to site, because it's going to change. Layout, what you're looking at, how many entrances, is it a site that is entry control fully where you have to have a badge to get in? Things like that are going to change change how that stuff works.
Knowing the layout.
On how that works. Knowing the layout is fantastic. If you're working a post and that's your permanent post, I would learn that building like the back of my hand. As a supervisor, when I was in the field every day, every post I could get to and I could learn and I would do the FTOs for, I would learn every building I could. If I knew it was part of their property, I would do everything I could to know at least the first floor layout. So that way I always knew how to get around the first floor. Sometimes it gets hard when you've got a building that's 9, 10, stories, unless the layouts are all the same on the inside. But generally speaking, you only need the first couple of floors. And then knowing that layout really helps because it gives you points of egress. It gives you, areas to know where there's possibly a liability. We had a property a long time ago that was a fairly big building. It was probably 3 buildings all attached together with a couple of walkways. And you could get lost pretty quickly on the inside just trying to figure it out. And my first time out there, I went and visited the full-time officer. And I said, hey, just walk me around the property real quick. Walk me through what you're doing. Walk me through. I've never been here. And I had the officer who'd been there for, I think, a year show me the property and show me how to get through the building and where the access points were and things like that. And I said, hey, what about this door? This door doesn't have anybody standing here. And he goes, oh, it's entry control. You can only get to it by ringing the buzzer, and they have to see your uniform. So it was people who would bring in deliveries of stuff, and you had to be wearing a specific uniform for them to open the door.
Gotcha.
You didn't have that. FedEx, UPS, none of those guys came to that door. It was only that one type of delivery. And if you weren't wearing that uniform or have that access badge, you weren't getting in. They made you go to the other side of the building and check in with security. It was like, perfect. So how does this work? Oh, well, this works this way. They had a garage door on one end of the building where they parked vehicles on the inside of the building.
Yep.
He said, how do you get in that? There's a clicker in every vehicle and a button on the inside. It's the only way that garage door opens. Oh, so if the garage door is open, someone's coming in or someone's leaving. Yep. Perfect. How long does the garage door stay open? Just long enough for a car to get in and it starts closing. Cool. So, little things like that where those points of entry and how they work and where they are and how to get to them quickly. That's how you can secure and keep things safe that way. And then some of that plays back to the presence, and it comes to being vigilant and paying attention to your surroundings and knowing when somebody's around your property or where they are in your property, if you were keeping an eye on them. Things like that will add to it as well. A big thing that adds to it that I've seen is when it comes to like the basic stuff of being able to tell a client, hey, I was here at the closing and there's a couple of lights out in the parking lot. That makes them feel safe because now they know you're paying attention to not only the building, but the properties attached to it, like the parking lots, and you're trying to keep their employees safe because you don't want them walking out in the dark.
Yep.
Little things like that.
I think a key factor when ensuring safety and security, especially in a dangerous or hazardous situation, is being able to keep your cool under pressure. You got to do whatever you have to do to keep yourself mentally ready to encounter those situations. Take a second to breathe and then think rationally, make sound decisions, and you are going to be better off than the vast majority of the population in any of those scenarios.
Absolutely.
Taking a second to breathe, to think things through, is going to lead to success.
Absolutely. It's the biggest thing I tell people when it's the same kind of concept I tell people when they go to range.
Yep.
What's the biggest words that, someone asked me one time, what's the best advice you could give me for range? Breathe.
Breathe.
Slow down.
Listen.
Breathe. Pay attention to what's going on around you. The biggest thing is what happens is you get panicked, you get rushed, or you feel adrenaline. Yep. And you start to feel it in and you start to breathe faster and everything starts to move quickly. Stop. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Bring your heart rate back down and just breathe and pay attention to what's going on around you, and you'll be fine. That's the biggest thing, is that breath. Keeping your breathing calm, keeping yourself at that calm level, at that easy pace will make everything a whole lot better.
Yep. As soon as you get jittery, you're going to start making mistakes. And those mistakes are going to make you panic. And that panic is going to lead to both you and others' safety at risk.
Absolutely. We've answered this one before with Captain Voss. Qualities of what are good qualities for a security guard. We've answered that before. It's always a good one to return to. But again, that's presence, how you present yourself. Your uniform's got to be clean. How you act when you're on shift. How you act when you're off shift.
Yep.
Plays into it too.
The first thing I look for when I'm walking into the class of Neos and I am talking to people is I'm looking for integrity. If you have integrity and you have the intelligence to have integrity, then I can coach just about everything else.
Yeah.
If you may not look the best, but if you are willing to put in the effort and you are willing to put in the effort on your off time, and you are able to show me that you are a person of integrity and you will put others first, I will coach just about everything else.
Nope. We do the same thing in training. I can, when it comes to our instructors, they can teach everything we do. Everything we do, they can teach and you can learn it. And it's all easy as long as you're willing to put in the work, you're willing to listen, you're willing to learn. As long as you've got those qualities and you're paying attention, you'll be fine.
Yep.
You know, everything else is teachable. Everything about what we do. Someone asked me once, a while back about my job, back when it was just me doing scheduling. Well, do you feel safe because you're the only one who can do it? I'm not the only one who can do it. I've trained, a bunch of people that can do it. And now there's even more. And it's not the fact that, I was the only one that could do it. At the time, I was the only one who wanted to. But the big part is there are skills I have, skills that you have as schedulers that not everybody shares. And they call us nerd for it. And we have our guys that are better in the field. And knowing that...
And we call them jocks.
Yeah. But knowing that, that's where it plays, I know that I'm better at my computer, begrudgingly so, because I love the field, actually. I'm better at my computer than I am in the field. But my partners are better in the field than they are with their computers. Knowing that strength allows me to be the best person for the company.
Yep.
Play to my strengths so that way my partner can play to theirs. Next.
Staying alert during long shifts.
That's a big one.
Yeah, I've got a decent experience with that. I've worked a lot of 12s overnights. My availability when I was QRT was days and overnights. Mm-hmm. So I had to flip quite frequently. Things that I would do to prepare for a long shift, that's honestly the key to staying alert. Lots of food, lots of water, bringing decent food that's not going to weigh you down. It's not going to put you to sleep. A lot of water if you have to, energy drinks. Getting sleep. If you don't have a good time frame between shifts, sometimes you don't, to sleep, you got to maximize as much as you can. You got to, if you want to take some melatonin to help yourself get to sleep, do whatever you can to absolutely pass out,
mm-hmm.
get 5.5, 6 hours of sleep, wake up, get some decent food in you, get some orange juice, get some water, wake up, get yourself going, and find something to entertain yourself. There was a point in time where I was so dead that in my head I would see all these grandmasters in chess play chess, mm-hmm. and they would keep track of a board in their head. It's like, oh, that's really interesting. I wonder how I would do with that. I would sit inside of a store, and I would just be moving pieces. Like, okay, I lost myself. I got to start over, and it was tedious, and I got bored of it.
But you learned.
I got bored of it really quick, but I was awake.
Yeah, the entire time. Yeah.
The key is staying awake. If you're awake, you can be alert.
Yeah. When it comes to that, I've got nothing better. I mean, that's perfect. Good food, water, lots of water. Keep yourself moving. I used to do a lot of overnight patrols that were long shifts. I'd get to a point where I was feeling tired. I would hit one of our properties and I would just walk. Instead of a 15-minute hit, I would do a 25, and I would just do more walking. And that kept me alert and it kept me awake. So things like that and preparing for it, good rest, stuff like that. Fantastic. But on that, we're going to use that as our last question. We've got a few more that we can do on the next one. We'll hop into the weather real quick. We'll get you guys on that, and then we'll let you guys get to your weekend enjoying it. So what we're looking at for the weekend, we got 91 today. We have 87 and partly cloudy on Saturday, 89 on Sunday, partly cloudy, 97 on Monday with some isolated thunderstorms. Tuesday is going to be 97 and sunny. Wednesday's 98, same. Thursday's 95, Friday 94, and Saturday 92. So we're getting back into that nice, warm weather. So remember, guys, hydration is key, and hydration is the day before, not the day of. We appreciate it, guys, so much. We wouldn't be able to do this stuff without you. Thank you again so much. Robert, thank you again for letting me drag you on here.
Yeah.
We appreciate it, guys. Enjoy your weekend, and we will catch you on the next one. Stay safe, guys.